Recording from the One More Pour studio, where every pour comes with a story. This is the Dram Amateur Podcast. And here's your host, Jason.
All right, welcome back to the Dram Amateur Podcast, the show where we explore the stories, spirits, and sips that make the world of whiskey, bourbon, rum, tequila, mezcal, and beyond so exciting. I'm your host, Jason, and I'm thrilled to have you here for another pour of a great conversation. Before we dive in, don't forget to connect with me on Instagram at Dram_amateur, as well as YouTube and Facebook under the Dram Amateur Podcast to stay in the loop with exclusive content and updates. Whether you're a seasoned enthusiast or just starting your journey into the world of fine spirits, this is your spot to sip, learn, and share. So pour yourself something good, get comfortable, and let's kick off another unforgettable episode of the Dram Amateur Podcast. And you know what? Most people think that the spirits world is run by distillers, master blenders, and brand founders. But there's another player in this game. The person standing behind the hype and your glass. The one deciding what makes on the shelf and what never leaves the distributor's warehouse. Today's guest isn't just a liquor store owner. He's a curator. He's a negotiator. He's a relationship builder. And in a city like Atlanta, where bourbon hunters, tequila lovers, rum explorers, and mezcal lovers all collide, it's right in the middle of it. From allocation madness to daily drinker gems, from social media hype bottles to the under-the-radar sleepers, he sees it all before most of us even hear about it. Owner of Kenny 18 Bottle Shop in Atlanta, Vick, welcome to the Dram Amateur Podcast. How you doing today?
Good, Jason. Thank you for having me, man. Honestly, I don't think I've ever gotten that good of an intro before. I appreciate that.
You're welcome, man. I love it. It's like my little signature thing I do. It was something I started early on, and just like it helps me get to know you a little bit better. Get you welcomed into the podcast. So I'm glad you liked it.
Nice. Thank you, man.
Very cool. Well, hey, man, thanks for coming on the podcast. And this is the first for me to have a liquor store owner on. That it is a you guys have a lot going on. I know a little bit behind the scenes of what happens sometimes with what you guys are going through and how you try to get things and going through allocations and all those things. But I really love to hear a lot of these answers from you and get a really in-depth view into what it's like to run a liquor store and to own something like that. So let me start out with, before you were the owner of the bottle shop, how did you get interested in it? Was it a family business? Was it just something for, to make money? Did you have an interest in spirits? How did you get interested in getting into this industry?
So honestly, opening a liquor store was never even a idea that I had that I was going to do in the future. So a little background story. My dad actually bought the property that we're on right now, where the liquor store sits. There's a gas station attached to it as well. He bought the property back in 2005, and the spot that the liquor store is was just empty, like land. There was just trees and grass right there, right? Back in around 2008, before the market crashed and everything, he wanted to put a liquor store here. But obviously, with the times being uncertain of what's going to happen next with the markets, kind of just put it on the back burner, kept it going with the gas station. And then years went by, he's gotten older. He's been working since he was like 14 years old. So he passed away when he was 67.
Wow.
So 2018, December 2018 is when he passed away. And his whole dream was still to have a liquor store here. And that's when, like, me and my siblings, we took over the business for the gas station. And it was like, you know what? Hey, let's just start getting something rolling, get some ideas together, see how we can make this a possibility. And the whole name Kenny 18, because everybody in the neighborhood, it's a very community-driven neighborhood that we're in, Kirkwood. So everybody in the neighborhood knew him as Kenny. And 18 is just one of his very lucky numbers that he has. So it was like better name to have than Kenny 18 Bottle Shop. And then that's when I just got literally just thrown into the whole industry of liquor, not knowing much about it. The most experience I've probably had was craft beers.
Okay.
That's it, right? No spirits knowledge, no nothing, no wine knowledge. Literally just day to day, just grinding and just learning as much as I can and take everything I can from my vendors to suppliers and whoever I would come across. Now, that being said, honestly, this suits me. This whole industry suits me. I'll say that. So it's a blessing.
That's cool. How do you feel it suits you?
So I'm a very talkative person to customers, building a relationship like that. Just knowing that I could have one-on-one conversations without making it like a sales pitch to a customer. Yeah. Just talking what's going on in the industry versus like, hey, I got this new item in, let's try it out. Come on over here, let's have a sip. Just having that one-on-one, I think that's where my element is, and that's where a lot of customers would trust my opinions and my employees' opinions on it, because obviously we're not commission based, so it's not like something we're going to try to sell you just to make an extra buck, and customers know that now. So that's why it's seeing when, like I said, for example, the Fuerte, seeing somebody try that for the first time and being saying, "Oh, I'm not a tequila person. I'm afraid tequila it's high proof, more alcohol." No, I mean it's just you're just misled in a way, right? And just being able to explore that with you and seeing the reaction, I enjoy that a lot.
That's awesome. Yeah. So when we were I have a green room now. Since I have a studio, I guess I have a green room. Since when we were in the green room, Vic, I saw like the little top of the bottle and looked like a Volans. He was like, "No, it's Don Vicente Fuerte." And I was like, "Oh shit!" I'm like, "I haven't tried that yet. I have a bottle." He's like, "You better go get it and crack it." So I just cracked it and tried it, man. It's fantastic. And Vic and I both share appreciation for high proof Blanco, which is fantastic. So, and yeah, I'm glad I cracked that bottle, because that thing is really, really good. So
yes, sir.
And I love, and from a consumer standpoint, excuse me, mad respect for you having a personality and want to talk to people. I can't tell you the number of times I walk out of a liquor store because I'll walk in, nobody says hi. Walk around, nobody says hi. Walk up to the front counter, look to see what's behind the counter on the shelves in the back. Standing right there next to a person, I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" I'll barely get a grunt or anything like that. Just and I'm like, "Bye." I'm like, "I don't want to do any business with you." So kudos to you, because I honestly too, I think that no matter what type of consumer it is, no matter if it's like me who comes in and either knows what they're looking for, or is just hunting for something different or something I don't have yet, or somebody's just coming in and getting a daily, right, and just grabbing something that they want for the day. I think that relationship and that openness to talk to somebody, I think, makes a big difference in feeling like a part of the community, feeling like a part of the store, and feeling like you're welcome in the store. And it makes people want to do more business in those areas.
100%.
Yep. It's really a big difference. So when you're running a bottle shop, so what does the average customer not understand about how liquor stores actually operate behind the scenes?
I think the biggest issue, or the biggest thing that people don't understand, is whenever they see the price tags, they want to start comparing with all the big box stores, like the Towers and the Greens of the world, right? And to understand that, like, you have businesses such as Towers that have been almost 80 years plus in the business, where they can afford to be that low, and they're buying the biggest deals possible or creating their own personalized deals for that store. We've only been in business for 2 years now, this past December. And for us, we try to do as big case deals we can, but obviously it has to make sense business wise. If the item is, let's say, only moving 5 cases a year, you're not going to buy a 30 case deal. It just doesn't make sense. So you're trying to manage which deals you're going to buy, which deals you don't need to buy, essentially, to get that price right, to be competitive. And for the most part, we are doing a great job, in my opinion, that to compete with the big box stores. But there's going to be few outliers that, hey, it's just not possible for us to have that low of a price. And sometimes it just depends. Like, if a customer is shopping here quite often enough, we will try to match the prices here and there, take 1 or 2 losses, I guess you could say. But in the long run, we try our best to keep the price as low as possible. And that probably would be the biggest one, that a misunderstanding from the consumer side.
That's interesting. And I assume too that, like, if I understand business, or like owning a business, right, if you carry the inventory over the next year, you have to pay for taxes year over year for that inventory. So if you, like you said, if you order 30 cases and you're only selling 5 a year, you're paying taxes on those 25 extra cases every single year, plus every other piece of inventory you have too. So inventory control for you helps keep your costs lower from at least a tax perspective. And then obviously you'll have to just make sure that you control obviously what you have on the shelf, have enough of what everybody wants, those kind of things. So that's where I imagine inventory is a very important key to what you guys are doing business wise.
It is. And it gets difficult because you're trying to control all that while the holidays are booming, right? Like people want to buy everything and anything. You can't like predict what's going to boom this winter or whatever, right? So you're trying to judge and guess everything accurately as possible without going overboard or buying the biggest deal possible. So it's a learning process. That's all.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. It's something we all need to understand as consumers, because it's not as like easy as you think, right? Like you've got 40 cases in the back and just keep stocking them. You have a business to run, and control your costs, and in your overhead so that you're profitable, so you're not taking a loss every single year. Let me ask you about the 3-tier system, which is a very popular subject in this space. I hear a lot of horror stories. I hear a lot of obstacles. I also hear some opportunity though, because sometimes I hear stories that bottles are just sitting in a warehouse somewhere. Nobody even knows they want them. They might be unique to a market, or they might be unique to a type of consumer. And depending on your clientele, then you might have the ability to snag those bottles and be like, hey, just ship me everything you have. I know I can move them, something like that. How much control do you really have over what hits your shelves and what you bring in to the market?
So it depends. Like if we're talking agaves, specifically, I would say we probably have 100% control of what actually hits our shelves, because there's no bigger allocation that's pushing it. Besides Fortaleza. But if you look at the bourbon side of it, you have Wellers, Blantons, all that, et cetera, Sazerac products. So sometimes you're going to have to carry stuff that you don't even ever going to sell, right? That's when the whole issue with the 3-tier system, where you have to push a whole bunch of BS to get anything good for your allocations, to even please your customers, to have them keep coming back. So it's a whole cycle that you got to just kind of keep going with it. In a sense, it's a big game that just rigged, in a sense. As far as tequila, like there's this brand out of 1414 with Master Distiller Sergio Cruz. Brand's actually, have it right here. I'm not trying to plug anybody.
Is it Lost Lore?
It is not Lost Lore. Lost Lore is great. It's a brand called Remari. It's a relatively new brand.
Never heard it. Okay.
Out of 1414, and they use sake yeast.
Oh,
so
wow.
Very, very interesting. And I've been trying to get them into the market, and we have a distributor that's possibly talking to the owners right now to try to bring them into the market. So hopefully, stuff like that, like when you talk to the brand owners and they send you out samples, you're trying your best not to just abuse that relationship, and actually try to get each and every distributor that you have, relationship with, to offer them a taste at least, so they can see how good it is to be able to bring it in. But as far as like the whole 3-tier system, it's at this point, like I'm still new to the industry, where I don't really know 100% ins and outs of it. From what I've experienced so far, everything's been great. It's just, like I said, with bourbon is the only hiccup that we have.
Yeah. Do you see, fair point. And I mean, I started in bourbon, then moved to rum, then moved to tequila. Now I'm in mezcal, and I sprinkle Armagnac in there a little bit here and there. And other things. But with bourbon, we all know like what that market looks like. We all understand it. We all know what you guys all have to jump through. Cases of Fireball, Wheatley, God knows whatever else they throw at you as well. Traveler now probably maybe is one of the ones as well. But like, do you tequila's growing, right? A lot. Do you fear that that's going to happen with tequila as well?
Eventually. I mean, it's the same, like it's all numbers, right? At the end of the day, wherever the most money's coming in. But in my opinion, I think so far, right, the only one that's really allocated is Fortaleza. There's some Cascoin products. Like let's take Lost Lore's the Amburana bottle that released last year. Big hit. Everybody loved it. It's a great, bottle. The way they distributed it really wasn't like how bourbon is distributed. Like, okay, I'm allocated this many bottles, I can only distribute you 1 case, or 5 bottles or 6 bottles, whatever it is, right? Whereas tequila, I could literally say, hey, I need like 5 cases to start out. Let's see how that goes. If it's picked up, you definitely rebuy, obviously, right? And you got to a point where it's like, how many do you have left in the warehouse? Because it was just moving so quick that we ended up just buying whatever the warehouse had at the time, buying them out, and still getting requests from people to come buy the bottles. And we have a few bottles, but there's a special thing that we're going to do later this year during the holidays with them. So right now they're on lockdown.
gotta keep them safe. Gotta keep them separated. Yeah. That's awesome. No, it's cool.
But it'll be worth it for the consumers, honestly.
No, it's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I fear that with tequila. I see how much it's exploding and how much it's blowing up, and I'm hoping, that it doesn't get that way. I mean, Fortaleza, like people say, like I've still never seen a bottle of Añejo on the shelf anywhere. I just ran across another bottle of Still Strength finally and bought that. That was the first time I saw it on a shelf in 3 years. I stumble across the Blancos quite often. I wouldn't say quite often. Every now and then, repos are kind of scarce. Winter blend, yeah, I'll see it, but it's like $600, and it's like, but I understand it, right? I understand, why it's done that way. So it's like I fear. The one good thing, I guess, that's there, but I also look at it from a volume perspective, is that Blancos aren't really aged, right? So you can release Blancos, you can release all these things. I understand the añejos are, but I also think about that with bourbon. There's just as many bourbon barrels as there are Blanco tequila being made every year, but like bourbon's still allocated. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I always fear that that's going to happen, and then we start losing access to some of these amazing tequila bottles that are out there right now. I hope it doesn't.
Like it is. It already seems like it is on some of the bottles, honestly. Like you look at, was it Casquin Añejo?
Yeah.
In the 2 years we've been open, we've only gotten one case, and that was last week.
That it dropped, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, who do I have to drive to go get a bottle?
There you go. See, that answers your question. But like I said, it's gonna be tough. I mean, like obviously it takes time to create these beautiful bottles and have them, done right. So you got to appreciate that process as well.
Yeah, my unicorn right now for tequila is a Tapatio Excelencia, because I have not seen one yet, and I'm like, one of these days I'm gonna snag one somewhere. It's gonna be the best day of my life. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna walk out like a little kid, like, yeah, I finally found one. But I think that's the beauty of it's the beauty of doing this, but it's the beauty of still hunting for something, right? I don't always want easy access to something. I want to go find it and hunt for it and build relationships and do those things. Or if you know a brand, like a store owner, it's like, hey, could possibly buy this. They only have 2 bottles. Did you want one? Like those are the kind of things that I really enjoy doing with it. So as much as it's I'd love to have one right now, then you miss out on all those other fun things with it as well. So it's a balancing act from a consumer perspective. So let's talk about hype and reality. So what bottles right now do you feel are like massively overhyped?
If we're talking bourbon, honestly, any Weller, any Blantons, it's just okay. Well, I would say the special reserve for being $25 a bottle, great value. Bang for your buck, right? When you come to like Blantons and stuff like that, I'm like, it's just not worth that price point because there's so many other brands out there that are under $40 that outshines it day and night. So it's just agave world. I would definitely say mostly all the Sazerac products, and I love that the craft industry is becoming more and more irrelevant in the bourbon world. That you can find beautiful bottles that are done way better and rarely available for a decent price. As far as tequila goes, honestly, I don't think there's much out there for me. There's some that there's a couple items, okay, and some people might hate me for it, but there's Cascanes. There was some bottles that they released that I wasn't a huge fan of. One being their Rosa Blanco.
Okay. But
however, I did get to try their recently Rosa Añejo or Rosa Reposado, they call it, and that was actually really, really good too.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean the beautiful thing is everyone has a different palate, so some people it works for some and what doesn't work for others. It's funny with all the Buffalo trait or the Sazerac stuff or whatever. It's interesting because I think it's all it all got us into it. I mean, I was a huge Eagle Rare and E.H. Taylor small batch guy, and now I have bottles of Eagle, like a bottle of Eagle Rare and a bottle of E.H. Taylor small batch, like unopened, untouched. Have had them for 4 years and don't seek it out either. Yeah, like you said, I mean, there's so many. I'd rather have a bottle of Wild Turkey 101, to be honest with you. It's just interesting how palates evolve. You still appreciate it. It's still good stuff, but you just change over time. And like you said, there's a lot of good things coming out in the market right now that, like you said, go try these different $40, $50, $60 and less bottles, man. They're fantastic. There's a lot of good stuff out there.
Agreed, 100%.
On the flip side, what do you think sits on the shelves a lot that deserves to be respected more?
Off the top of my head, I'll start with like bourbon, right? Green River definitely being one of those brands.
Yep.
Penelope's definitely gotten its acknowledgement over the years, but there's a lot of people still won't pick it up. Pinhook is another really good brand.
Yep.
Tequila wise, I think like great thing about tequila is people don't mind exploring. Even with going from like a $20 bottle expecting to be shitty, but it's like out killing any brand like Casamigos or whatever they want to usually drink. So there's not many brands in that. Like people are usually open to trying new bottles. It's just the bourbon side. People who are that like, let's say I only drink Four Roses, I'm only fucking with Four Roses. So
they're more open-minded on the tequila side. That's good because we can get them out of the Casamigos world.
And it's happening. Like sometimes the thing is like if you look at the social media side of it, like people who are posting about like La Gritona especially, right?
Yep.
It blew up because of Instagram, TikTok, and stuff like that. So it's insane.
No, it's good. I mean, honestly, every time if I go to a store and I see somebody reaching for something, I'm like, hey, hold on, like try this one. Like I guarantee you won't be disappointed. Or if I see them struggling to like figure out like what bottle they want, right? Like I'll see them like, well, I wonder if we should get this one or that one, or they're reading the labels. I'm like, hey, what, take a chance on a Tequila Ocho or a Lalo. I always put in the
Yeah.
Lalo. Lalo's like one of the most approachable ones for $45. I'm like, go with Lalo. You won't be disappointed. It's a great starting point to get yourself into what you like. If it was more a little bit like peppery, I'd probably go more, I wouldn't say peppery, but a little bit more spicy, a little bit more kick to it. I like the Siete Leguas because I like a little bit of,
I love Siete Leguas.
yeah, I love Siete Leguas. So it just depends, but I would definitely like, I'm the first guy. It's just like, hey, try this instead. Like I don't drink crappy tequila anymore. Please don't.
That's
Please
what
don't.
blew my mind one day. Just realizing like how many consumers are actually just trying to help other consumers pick the right products.
Yeah.
Whereas like essentially you're doing our job in a way to guide them the right way.
Yep.
So I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Well, I hate walking into a big box liquor store that has two words in it. One's a T and one's a W to start the words, and their prices are ridiculous now, and you always get forced onto their brand bottles. And I walk around knowing more than half the people that are talking to the consumer, and I'm just like, Jesus, man. I'm like, and I don't know everything by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
I have a lot to still learn, but just hearing some of the things and some of the conversations, I just shake my head. And if the person walks away, I'll be like, hey, try this instead. Maybe try, go this route or something. Not to put that guy down, but it's a very interesting industry depending on where you're at store wise. They'll try to push what they want, what they get what they get more profit on, things like that. So that's why I would rather not go to a big box store, go to somebody like, that's a single owner like you guys are. And I think there's more, you guys care about the consumer more because they're your bread and butter, or they're your life business, right? They're going to come back in and support you guys time and time again.
Well, if they're our lifeline.
Yep. Do you think the bourbon craze is cooling off? So we talked a lot about bourbon and tequila. I see it a lot. I'm going to put my perspective, but your boots on the ground every day, right? People coming in and doing stuff. What are you seeing in the market right now with that?
I wouldn't say it's like cooling off. It's definitely people are well aware like how hard it is to get stuff nowadays. So they're trying to choose better what they enjoy every day. In a way, what I'm trying to say is basically, if you look at like what people are buying every day, let's say Four Roses, for example, right? They're going to keep drinking that every day. They're not really hunting for those allocated bottles as much as they were, let's say 3-4 years ago. So in a way, yes, it is cooling down, but with distilleries bringing out new products like the 10-year, the Coy Hill, and all that, it's still like there's always something to chase, and there's always going to be those, the geeks, the nerds that are very well in love the craft, right? They're always going to be chasing it. So it's there, but it's definitely not as prominent as it was before.
Yeah. I mean, even for me, like starting off, I remember it was 2019 when I moved into my house and discovered, I was like, oh, I'm going to go buy a bottle of bourbon to celebrate. And I went and tried to find an Eagle Rare at Total Wine. And the guy was like, hey, do you guys have Eagle Rare? And the guy laughed at me. He's like, yeah, it's allocated. What are you talking about? You're not going to find it on a shelf. And I was like, the hell's allocated mean? I had no idea. So I went home and started watching some YouTube videos and then found out like what's going on. So then I jumped into the hype, right? You're buying and trying every bottle and so on and so forth. And now from a consumer perspective, looking back then and seeing all the bottles I still have, and I don't buy that much bourbon anymore, to be honest with you. But it's like I'm very selective with what I buy nowadays. I think that whole boom of just buying and trying things have gone away quite a bit. And I think everybody tries to, just find their area, find their find what they like. And then what I find is I'll do samples from friends, and that's how I get introduced to new things. And that way I can try a bunch of stuff. And if I like it, then I'll go buy a bottle. So I think a lot of with the state of the economy and things like that, I think people are a little bit more tighter on spending. And I think one of those areas is probably just buying bottles just to buy them and try them.
Yeah. Couldn't word it any better. Honestly, it's just, I mean, like you said, people are just more selective about how they spend their money nowadays.
Yep. Agreed. Do you, when you mentioned allocations a couple times, how do you guys do everything allocation wise? Do you guys have a lottery at the end of the year, a point system? How do you guys do it store wise?
So we're still trying to, perfect it as we can. Right now we have a loyalty program, so every dollar
Okay.
spent is a point earned. If you buy the store picks that we do, is triple the points. Certain days we'll have like from let's say open to 4 p.m. Everything in the store is like 1.5 stars. So there's multiple different ways to earn more stars. And the way we do it is we'll host a day where we bring out all the allocation stuff that we've been hoarding in the back, in front, and we'll host a time frame where you come, you get in line, and it's all based on whoever has the highest points.
Okay.
We used to do, if you're part of the loyalty program and you have enough points, if you come first, you're first in line. A lot of people who, let's say, spend $10,000 a year, right? And they come like, how come I can't get priority? I have spent this much versus the first person only spent $2,000. So it's like, all right, there's a consensus, like, what people want and trying to figure out the right way to go about it. So that's what we started doing. Like, whoever has the highest points gets first in line, and so on and so on. And so far, people are okay and happy with that. Honestly, they don't mind, they understand it, and just going with that method. And then we're also trying to bring different uses, because a lot of times what people started doing was on our POS system, it'll tell you to sign up, and the whole idea for the loyalty program was for the allocation, but everybody thought it was a reward system where you could get discounts on liquor. And unfortunately, in the state of Georgia, you can't have that program. So we started doing it was like anything like, non-alcoholic mixers, chips, snacks, barware, glassware, like you'll be able to get discounts on those. So we're trying to offer more ways for you to keep coming back, obviously, but to get rewarded for shopping here as well. And
That's
then
cool.
eventually, when we start doing, our dinner pairings with a few restaurants here and there, you'll be able to use your points to buy tickets for those events as well, or any other event that we're a part of.
That's dope. That's a cool idea, man. I like that's how I got introduced to tequila, was through like a dinner pairing with tequila one night,
Yeah.
with Tequila Ocho. So that's cool that you guys do that. That's cool that you guys offer the ability to use points to be able to do that as well. That's pretty neat. I like that. That. How many drops do you guys do? You guys do like a big allocation day at the end of the year, so save everything up to the end of the year? Do you guys do it a couple times a year? What does that look like?
So that's the part we're still trying to figure out how many we want to do per year.
Okay.
The first year we did 4, almost one every quarter.
Wow. That's
But
awesome.
it wasn't huge, right? It was very minimal. And it was our first year of being open. So we slowly learned, well, I think 4 is a lot because people aren't drinking that fast to build those points back up. So then we did 2 last year, one being right before summer, one being during the holidays. It was good, but people were in the middle were like, hey, can we get another allocation day? So what we started doing was doing little events. So last year for Valentine's Day, we did like a scavenger hunt.
Oh, cool.
We put out a few little allocation bottles. We had winter blend in there as well. The cool thing was like seeing the husband and wife come back later in the night, because this was an all-day event. They came back after the dinner, and they literally spent an hour and a half searching the whole store for that winter blend. I couldn't tell you how many customers were mad that they couldn't find the winter blend, and saying that it was a scam and we're not really giving away the bottle or anything like that. Or not giving away, but we're not really selling the bottle. And we're just like, they're like, give us a hint. I'm like, it's a scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
It's not really fair to give a hint. We're not that big of a store for us to even like give you hints to make it worth it. So, we've tried to find ways to be more interactive with the customer, make it fun and eventful rather than just coming and spending money. It's got to be an experience. At the end of the day, I'm all about experiences.
That's cool.
So I think we've landed on doing 3 per year, one right around, April, one during midsummer, and one right around the holidays. A big one around the holidays just makes more sense.
That's really cool. Now, are you doing just bourbon in those drops? Or are you guys putting some tequila and things in there too?
No, we're putting bourbon, tequila, anything
cool.
that like, even scotch. We're trying to get as much as allocated stuff we can. And whatever we have, we're putting it out there. Wine, there are some allocated wines that we get, but those we already just put them on the shelf. So whoever's a wine enthusiast, they will come and grab it.
That's cool. Do you guys I hear stories of stores like hiding bottles behind bottles just randomly throughout the year, or putting a bottle of bourbon in the wine section just to kind of get them to walk around. Have you guys ever done anything like that?
We have. Yeah, that was probably like similar to the scavenger hunt that we did, right? So we hid bottles in the shelf displays, inside the coolers and stuff like that. So it's just fun.
That's pretty cool. That's neat. I like that, man. I really do. Let me see. Let me ask you a question about your store identity. Let's go back to the store a little bit and go talk about that. So Kenny, your store isn't just a shelf with bottles, right? It has a vibe to it. How are you intentional about what kind of store culture you create? And then obviously, how do you maintain that store culture?
In a sense, it's like an open door, I want you to be open-minded. I want you to feel welcome when you come into work, or even as a customer coming in, feeling like you're welcome here as a guest and not just come here to spend your money. Uh, I try to be, friendly and open-minded about, let's say, for example, if an employee's having issues, try to figure out what's going on, see if there's any way we could help them out, or if there's an internal problem, how can we fix that problem? If there's something that they need help to do their job even better, let's try to figure out a way, right? So I'm always about like breaking it down, see if it makes sense, and go the right process if it needs to be. Um, as far as like just having a healthy culture in the store, honestly. And then,
just having fun. And do you feel it's so when your consumers come in, how would you think that they would describe the culture of your store?
I mean, honestly, you could read the reviews online. They literally tell you like they feel welcoming. They love being here in the neighborhood. It's just fun because honestly, we have people that bring their kids. Their kids want to come here.
That's cool.
And the reason why the kids want to come here because we give out candy to the kids. But
I love it.
It's not a ploy, I promise. But it's just something to give. Like, you're great getting your little treat. They should get their treat as well while they're with you.
That's cool. I had another podcast the other night, about a week ago or two ago, and I was telling my friend, I said, I always remember going to the liquor store with my parents to go buy beer because they would let me walk in the cooler. I'd pick up a case of bottles and carry the case out to the car. I'm like, now I don't think little kid could be carrying cases of beer out to the car, but I used to do that to help my parents out. It was always like a fond memory of mine that I always had. So, you get cold going to the cooler and you look all cool walking out with the case of beer to your beer car. It is fun, man. It is a lot of fun. The more you include your kids in doing all that stuff, I just think it takes the stigma out of it, right? I mean, if you shelter everybody from it and you protect them from shouldn't drink or don't come to the liquor store, it creates a stigma that if you're just more open to them growing up, I think they accept it a lot more as well. So that's pretty 100%. Cool. You have that culture.
And they're not going to do stuff behind your back.
Exactly. So. I did that plenty, even though I had we all did.
Listen, it's going to happen, but it's going to be minimized.
Exactly.
It's going to be minimized.
It's not going to be the extreme. Exactly. Let's talk about like social media. So like with the store, I guess two questions with that. One, how do you feel the store's been impacted by social media? But then two, how have you seen this industry change with the change of social media content creators and everything going on with social media around the spirits industry?
I mean, let's start off with the social media side of it for the store, right? It's definitely needed. Doesn't matter what type of business you're doing, you need a social media presence, right? Doesn't have to be top tier quality. Just make something happen. Like put a post out daily of whatever it is that you do in whatever industry you're in. Luckily, I found a great person to run our social media. Her name is G. She also is a big tequila enthusiast. Brilliant as well about that. And she handles all the social media side of it, and she's learning as she goes too, right? So she's not a professional by any means, but she will execute. If she has an idea in her head, she will try her best to execute it as perfect as she can. And just having her, like, giving her the freedom to do what she want to do with social media is part of, creating that good culture of not overseeing everything, not micromanaging everything that they do. So just let that happen and be part of it where you can, make fun videos if you can, or if they need you in the videos, don't be like, oh, I'm the owner, I don't need to be in the video. No, just be in the video. Like, it's fine. Nobody's going to care.
Yep.
But yeah, remind me again the second part of the question.
Well, first of all, you're a good leader for that because you're not micromanaging. You're giving people the freedom you're empowering them to be themselves, right? And to support your store that way, setting boundaries, obviously, but then giving them the freedom to do that. And you're trusting in them. So that's first of all, that's awesome. That's not a lot of people have that quality anymore in this world. So kudos to you for having that. The second question was more about like the influencers and the content creators and everything going on in social media, right? How have you seen like the industry shift with that culture? I mean, maybe 4 or 5 years ago that it was there, but it didn't exist in the mass and the volume it does now. So you're a newer store. So how have you felt that impact with that level of social media content?
I mean, it has the goods and bad, right? The good side of it is that it's definitely going to boost your sales because let's take Cutwater for example. Recently, there was a TikTok about something with Cutwater that people were drinking like crazy. It was sold out for months at a time. It was hard to get it even like case into the store. So it could be great in that sense where it boosts your sales. But the other side of it is, let's take tequila, right? You don't know who's getting paid to provide that information to say, oh, this is the next killer bottle. And that person could have 200,000-300,000 followers. If those are driving the influence, or the influencers driving those sales down or up, it could, negatively impact your business at the end of the day as well. It could be a great product, but if some influencer says, "Oh, this is bad" or whatever, but this is better, right now, social media talks. Like whatever people say, they're gonna go with that. That's the downside of it.
Yeah, we've lost the ability to just find out for ourselves. We just trust what
Yeah.
somebody says and take it for what it's worth. And honestly, sometimes that's not the best approach. You should give it a chance yourself and see if it is for you, because it might not be, or it might be. Sorry, and that's the thing, I guess, too, that I didn't really realize, is that there's just as much bad as there is good in that side of things. And I think from my lens, I don't see that, because I try to create a space where everybody can share their experience, share, what they're doing, so I can kind of present a different side of everybody and their experience and and what they're doing a little bit even outside of this space, so people get to know each other a little bit deeper, community bond. That's what I'm really trying to focus on. So I don't really see a lot of that stuff, but maybe it's out there and it's there. I mean, if you see it, then I believe it's there. I just don't see it as much. So, but it's definitely something interesting. So, dear consumers out there, do your homework. Don't just listen to some dude with 300,000 followers. Everybody has a different palette and a different thing they like. So yeah, don't just listen.
But that's the thing. Like, even let's say they did their due diligence, right? But they still want the bottle. Even if they hated it, they're still going to think that they enjoyed it, because it's a false presence that they had, that like, oh, this is how it's supposed to taste.
That's true. That's true. Very true. So I didn't think about that either.
It just skews the whole mind of it. And I'll tell you a little snippet in it, right? Where I've kind of seen some influencers talk with each other, at like events and stuff. I'm not going to name any events, but there's a lot of toxic environments out there too, between the culture.
I imagine. I don't want to see that side of it. No. Ever. You mentioned barrel picks earlier. How many barrel picks do you guys try to do a year?
I'm trying to do, honestly, like at least 4 or 5 a year.
Okay.
So far we've slowly been ramping up, because we're still trying to build our inventory in the inside. We've kind of balancing it out right now, where we're happy with where we're at. So I'm focusing more on the barrel picks. So far, we've done, let's say, one with Dark Arts. We've done with ASW Fiddler. We're working on a couple other tequila ones this year. One with Yayo.
Oh, cool.
There's another one that we are launching at the end of this month, and it's with Leyenda de Mexico.
Okay.
So this is their first ever still strength that they've done, and just not one. There's two variations of it.
No way, really? That's dope.
And they're heavy bottles. That's why I had to readjust it. But so this one's 104 proof, and this is 102 proof, right?
Oh, that's
and just cool. Being like 2 points difference in them, it's a drastic difference in taste, and they're amazing. Like Melly Baraz did an amazing job creating these items or these products, and I am excited to launch it this end of this month, and I have a lot of people try it. Honestly,
that's cool. Is there a big difference flavor wise between both of them too?
Yes. So the lower proof, you're going to get a lot more citrus notes, more, tropical pineapple flavor with a little peppery notes on it. Whereas the higher proof, you're going to get more cinnamon, more vegetal notes, and more peppery notes, honestly. So it's a drastic difference in my opinion.
That's cool. It always cracks me up too when people are like, yeah, it's just Blanco tequila. What do you mean there's different tastes? I'm like, y'all need to do a side by side and like literally drink them blind back, right next to each other. They're wild. It's wild how different it is. I mean, I was turned on to that by Fortaleza. Like I had a batch of like, I don't know, Fortaleza Blanco, like 70 and let's just say 120, right? And like side by side, a single brand, the batches were wildly different. I mean, one side of the spectrum to the other. And that was like that it piqued my interest, right? I was like, okay, what the hell is this? Like, how are these so different? Then you start doing the research and you start understanding all these things. You're like, holy shit. Like, let's go ahead and go buy every bottle we can of everything we can, because it's amazing. I mean, the quality, the history, the culture, all those kind of things. I love it a lot. So it's really kind of cool to say for sure. So, the Dark Arts, what was your Dark Arts spawn? I have had a few Dark Arts. I don't own any Dark Arts, but I've heard a lot of good things about Dark Arts. What was the Dark Arts one that you guys did?
So we did the one that was Asian Saltern's wine barrel.
Oh, dope.
And
Okay.
recently now I'm seeing a lot more, distilleries, tequila or bourbon going with sauternes. It just offers a nice like nuttiness, dessert flavored profile onto the palate. This is, I think, right around when Macaulay had kind of launched his brand, and within the first year or second year, this is when we did the barrel pick with him.
Very cool. What's been your favorite barrel pick that you guys have ever had and ever done?
Um, so far, honestly, it's the Leyenda because we haven't done many right now so far,
Okay.
right? So far it's been Leyenda. Behind that will be the Dark Arts, and then we just did this one last year to close out the year was the ASW Fiddler one.
Okay. Yep.
So
Those things are amazing. Yeah, ASW is doing
yes.
some great stuff. I have several of the Heartwoods. The
Mhm.
dude, they're amazing. I mean, every single one I've had has been great. And I had one of the first weeders that they ever did, and I was like, dude, they're all so
Yeah,
freaking good, man. They're absolutely fantastic.
it is. It's
They're doing some good stuff, man. I like to see somebody local like that, like killing it and doing an amazing job on stuff like that. Okay. If someone walks in and says, I want something under $50 that punches way above its weight, what are you handing them?
Are we talking bourbon or tequila?
Anything you want, man. Floor is wide open.
Yeah, there's a lot of brands out there.
I know it's tough.
One that keeps coming back to my mind right now, because it's relatively new. It's called Beautiful and the Damned. It's pretty much MGP. They're Old Orleans. It's 90 proof, and it is a very easy one to be introduced into bourbon. It doesn't, burn or anything like that. It doesn't have that spice, but it's very delicious. Another one, let's say for tequila wise, under 40 or 50. Honestly, Tapatio, it's a great one to get into. El Pequeño is another good one. Zumbador, Pedro
Yeah.
Furtivo. There's so many, like for tequila, there's so many out there, which I love that they're not like overly killing the price of it. Whereas bourbon's like, okay, I know people will pay for this, so I'm gonna market like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, bourbon, you almost got to go in like 60 and 70 or less, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I mean, there's some great bottles. I mean, Wild Turkey, even the Jack Daniels Bondeds are good.
Mhm.
I mean, they got $65 range for the single barrel proof ones. The Rise and the bourbons are
Yeah.
fantastic. I mean, Four Roses have some great things as well. I mean, you have the Holidays, you've got the Green Rivers, you have so many. There's a ton, right? But I think I think you're right though. With tequila, if you said under 40, I could probably run off a list of ones
Yeah.
under 40. You can go grab Cimarron, Zumador, like you mentioned, Sete Leguas. I mean, there's just one after another, after another, after another. So it's cool though that they have them at those price points, because you can go broke pretty quickly buying bottles and trying different things,
Yes.
man.
So that's
So
another thing, to elevate the customer experiences. One thing where we try to build relationships with vendors and suppliers is whenever they come in the store, we ask them, please, can you give us a sample bottle? Because
Yep.
we want to taste the customers on the item that they're interested in getting versus them spending their money on buying it and hating it and possibly having a negative experience at our shop. So it's always about the positive experience, right? And having that whole ability to give samples out to customers boosts our sales, boosts our relationship, and just great overall.
It's a big, I will be honest, it's a big deal. I can't tell you the number of bottles that I've bought and come home and drank it, and I said, that's
Yeah.
not for me. And then I actually have 2 bottles I just bought back in December that I was so excited for the brand, because I had tried the brand in Florida. I fell in love with it, thought that I would be able to procure a bottle there, and they were unfortunately all out. It was a single barrel pick. And then they finally dropped them here in Georgia and dug into it a little bit more and tried it and got it home. And I was so disappointed. And it's not that it was bad quality, it just wasn't for me. And I have to go back to it. I still have them open. I'm like, I haven't had a second try of it. And I said, I will keep them until I have a second try to see if I like them. But then if I don't, I'm going to give them to somebody else that will get to try them. And I'll just tell them, listen, they weren't for me. You try them. If you don't like them, then pass them along. Like, just keep passing them down the line, because at least then you introduce the brand to somebody else. So that's what I always try to do with this, is that if I find something that I buy and I don't like, I'm like, how can I get this in the hands of somebody else, whether through samples, whether through sending them a bottle, whatever, to get them to try something they may not have tried, because just because I don't like it doesn't mean it's not for everybody, right? It's just not for me, So
what brand was that?
It was a rum. It was the Alambic, the Alambic one. Yeah.
JH rum.
Yeah, the Mexican rum. Yeah. I had a bottle in Florida, dude, that it was a pick from a restaurant in Orlando, and it was I asked the guy as soon as he came back after 2 sips. I was like, I need a bottle. He's like, oh, do you really? I'm like, yes. I'm like, get me a bottle. So he goes in the back, he's searching around, comes back, he's like, dude, we're all out. I'm like, no, dude, you told me you had bottles. I'm like, don't do this to me. And I can't even tell you how disappointed I was. And then I was excited to finally see them. Here, and then they were different than the one I had. The labels were different. I was like, cool, I'm gonna try them. And then, man, I got them home and tried them, and I was just so disappointed. It's not that was bad; it was just not for me, and that I don't want to poo-poo in the brand in any way, shape, and form.
Yeah.
So it's like it encourages me to keep trying them and keep trying different expressions from them. But it definitely, like, I have to go back and try them again and then get them in the hands of other people because I don't want them just sitting in my shelf doing nothing. Like, I want to have other people try them because somebody will like it. Somebody will appreciate it, like it. And that's what I want to try to do. So that's my job as a consumer and part of this industry and start to do all that stuff. So, let's talk about customer psychology a little bit. So, owning a store, you have different clientele coming in every single day, buying bottles, and I'm sure they're buying. You might have some people that buy a little bit of everything. Some people just buy wine. Some people just buy bourbon. What do you think one common mistake customers make when they're choosing a bottle?
Going with a brand that's been widely talked about versus trying to see who the underdog is or trying to expand their, palette. Sometimes you could find a bottle that, let's take Grey Goose and vodka in general, right? If you're buying Grey Goose all the time and there's another brand out there that gives you your bang for your buck and you won't taste a single difference in that, why wouldn't that be worth a try, right? And it could be half the cost. I'll give you a great example. There's this brand called It's Vodka. They don't care about the marketing. The brand is literally called It's Vodka.
I love it.
And we've blind tasted people on it versus, Tito's or Grey Goose, and people have always picked that one. And the bottle's literally $10 for a liter.
Wow. Holy cow.
I mean, it's vodka at the end of the day. Nothing crazy. But still, like, there's stuff out there that will get you what you need. And you don't have to spend like $100.
So do you think people are going after the name and like the brand? That's what it is.
I've seen a lot of times where people's like, oh, my dad used to drink this and I started drinking it and that's why I'm just drinking it nowadays. So it's like sometimes it could be a thing that was just passed down, or like I said, it's just people who have widely heard of the brand and that's what they're going to go with, something that they already know, which makes sense because, like, let's say you're buying a car, right? You're going to go with a brand that you already know a little bit about versus a brand that you've never heard of. So I understand it. It just sometimes it's worth even talking to the cashier to get a second input on it.
No, that's a good point. That's a really good point. Do you find that it's good that you guys do samples of things too, because I think that gives people a chance to try it without having the commitment behind it as well, which I give kudos to you guys for doing that as to introduce them to different things. I'm a little, I guess so what you're seeing is you're seeing customers relate a brand to something they're aware of. They're relating it to price, thinking that maybe even the premium that they're paying for Grey Goose is meaning a higher quality than maybe something that's $10.
Right.
But yeah, so that's what you're seeing them do a lot in that space then.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting. Have you ever tried to intentionally steer somebody away from a bad buy?
As much as I can. As much as I can.
Don't buy that. Do you ever?
I'll give you.
Do they ever ask you then, like, why do you have it in your store if it's a bad buy?
I don't think I've gotten asked that ever. Honestly, no.
Okay.
But there's been many a times where we'll take Clase Azul, for example. You want to spend $160 on a pretty bottle.
Yeah,
I get that. It is a nice bottle with a bell. But if you're drinking it for the juice because you like the taste, guarantee you, La Gritona, $450, right? A fraction of the cost will deliver that more than you know.
Yep.
And people are just afraid to try it until somebody tells them, give it a shot. If you don't want to invest that $45, get a pint, get a shot, get something to get introduced into it, right? Whereas you'll save thousands of bucks in the long run.
Agreed. And you'll get introduced to something new that you're going to fall in love with.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time people are just like doing it for the gram for the
Yeah.
sake. So I understand that. But for the most part, like Don Julio with the 1942 bottle, I got the
Yeah.
1942 bottle. It's just for the gram.
Yep. Yep. No, it's funny. It's funny how people do that. It's just status, and it's just like if you knew what you were drinking compared to
Yeah,
what you're missing out on, it's like, man, it's just like I wish it would, I wish people, but I think consumers are starting to change a little bit. Like I mean, I've seen reports of how like the Casamigos, the Clase Azul, like their sales are starting to drop. They're starting to get turned into consumers are starting to buy the additive free stuff. So
mhm,
I think that's definitely changing. I still think there's a ways to go, obviously. And I'm
yeah,
not saying I want everybody to not buy those brands because, hey, if you like them, roll with it, right? If you like that, if that's your jam, then go for it. But I think you owe it to yourself to try something different. That's all that's the way I look at it.
yes.
That's the way I look at it. We got a couple minutes left here. Let's talk about future of retail. So let's give you a little future vision questions here. So in 5 years, what do you think Kenny's will look like? What are you hoping to see it evolve into in 5 years?
Honestly, stay true to what it was from day one. Like, just be community driven. Just be its own thing. Like, not try to copy and chase what other people are doing. Just focus on your community. See what the area needs. See what the market is asking for, and go and deliver on that. Right. As far as like next steps on the business side of things, like what Kenny 18 will do next, I always had the idea, like, because I've seen so many of these concepts go up that are conceptually just a huge vending machine in a ship
Mm,
container, and see if that's even possible to do for a liquor store with ID verification and whatnot, to see if what are the possibilities of that happening in the future. Because I do believe with AI boom and all this happening, that it is going to be more like a vending machine. If you look at Japan, a lot of the
yeah.
stuff there, 20%, like it's all vending machines and it's effective.
So you
So
think the brick or mortar concept's going to change in time? You think, or a little bit, maybe
it's
not
still going to
fully.
take time.
Yeah,
It's still
yeah,
going to
yeah,
take time, but
yeah.
it is going to start, shifting away from it.
That's interesting. It's funny. As much as as much as my daily jobs, AI, everything's AI, crying out friggin' loud. I mean, it's something. It's we joke about this every day. It's like it's the biggest outside of like the Model T being built and cars being built for the first time and like televisions. Like this is the biggest change ever that we've ever experienced as a
Yes.
population. And the impacts of it are far greater, I think, than anybody's ever seen ever before. So, as much as I joke about everything I hear is AI, I think that there's impacts that I haven't even, I had not even considered what you mentioned until you just mentioned it. I always hope that there will be brick and mortars because I think then what I like about it, it's the community aspect. Because when you
Yeah.
walk into a good store, whether it's your daily store, whether it's your neighborhood store, whether it's the store you frequent every month, week, a year, whether it's a store you just pop into for the first time, if you have that sense of community from you when you walk into that store, it's amazing. I go to Chattanooga a lot to hunt, and it's closer to where I live. And there's a store up in Chattanooga that I go in once or twice a year. That store owner, as soon as I walk in, goes, "Hey man, how you doing?" It remembers everything about me. And I
Yeah.
don't interact with them very much on social media. I like some things here and there, but as soon as I walk into that store, that dude remembers me, remembers what I bought, remembers what I liked, and I'm just like, "How do you do this, man?" I walk into a store I've never been in before. Like I said, like those people welcome you in. Hey, try this, try this. Have you tried this? Look at this, see this. Like, what do you like? Those kind of things. I mean, that sense of community I think is needed. So as much as AI is there and we might move into the vending machine concept and everything, I really hope that we don't ever lose this concept of brick and mortars, because I really think that community aspect of all of it's a really important part of all of this as a whole community join together and continue to support it.
That is true. That's a very good point. You do lose a lot of that, the interaction with it. But I think at a point it comes to where a lot of businesses will look at it money wise as well, right?
Oh
What's
yeah,
beneficial to them. And
absolutely.
obviously, with less labor that you have to pay for and all that, they will start shifting into that. And that's what one thing that does kind of worry me is, and obviously, this is not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
So it'll be a long time before it does, happen. That a lot of the mom and pop stores will kind of fade out.
Yep.
And the thing is, you have to adapt with whatever's going on.
Yep. At the end of the day, you're a business owner and you run a business. You have a
Yeah.
P&L statement at the end of the year, right? And you have to manage. You have to manage every single day. Trust me, for my daily job, I do this as well. Every single, I do this still. So I understand it. So like you, as much as I hope from a community aspect that doesn't change, I understand that change is inevitable, right? I mean, I never thought when I was growing up that we wouldn't have malls anymore, right? I grew up working in a mall. Mall was the greatest thing in the world. Now, like every mall is like a desolate wasteland and there's nobody in there, right? So evolution is bound to happen. Change is bound to happen as well. And I think it's just how, how much that changes, like you said, we'll have to see in time, but AI is definitely here and we'll just have to figure out how that obviously impacts everybody from a business perspective. But like you said, at the end of the day, you have a business to run. That's your livelihood. That's what makes your money and your family money. And you got to make sure you do the right thing for you and your family,
Yep. Loans got to get paid.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I get it. I completely understand it. All right, let's do some reflection questions. We got a couple minutes left. I want to go a little deeper in some of these things here. What's the most satisfying part of owning Kenny 18? Sorry.
Just the interaction day to day, honestly.
I would love
just
that.
being able to interact, because my whole major before we started this business and everything was getting into IT.
Okay.
And I just was doing it. It was like, okay, it's gonna be great money and everything in the long run, but there's no guarantees of like you're not gonna get laid off one day and stuff like that. So being your own boss, and this is what dad kind of taught me, is like you will have 100% control. If you fail, it is on you, right? But you have to control the ability to be successful, to run a business the way you want to run it without being told every single step of the way, like, hey, this needs to be done this way, this needs to be done that way. You actually get to experiment, try, fail, and learn from those experiences.
That's gotta be really cool, dude. I mad respect for you for that, and great and fantastic answer as well. I've always, it's funny, me and my buddies joke we play cornhole every Monday and we're like, we need to open a business. We're like, let's open a bar. I'm like, dude, I would love to be a bartender. It's the making a drink for somebody, sitting down, talking to them, like allowing them to sit at your bar, making them something, or introducing them to something new that changes their mind. Or they learn to appreciate. Same thing with what you're doing, right? You're not mixing cocktails, but you're still introducing them. If I could own a bar or be a bartender or own a liquor store or work at a liquor store, dude, I think it'd be the most fun experience. When I retire, I'm definitely gonna go do that shit, dude. It seems like a hell of a lot of fun, right? It's work. It's still work. You still have to do it. But like you said, everything your answer was exactly like what I lean into. It's just like, it's got to be hella fun to do this every single day.
It is, because the amount of people that you'll meet and build relationships with, like have relationships with customers that invite me to their homes.
That's
for
awesome.
New Year's Eve party, Christmas parties, birthday parties for their kids. It's like we just know each other on this level, but your ability to open up and want to broaden that relationship is amazing.
That's
awesome. Like I said, it's all community based. So
that's awesome. Kudos to you for having that. What do you think the most stressful is?
Ooh. The biggest thing is, because it just happened recently, was running out of all the items that you need to buy, and they are all big deals that you have to purchase all at once, while you still got to pay your monthly taxes all at once and your mortgage all at once. Everything just hitting all at once is like, okay, this is gonna be one crazy week.
That's crazy.
Other than that, honestly, it's as long as you have fun with it, as long as you're good with your employees, you take care of them, they will take care of you, right? A lot of people have said that. It's not something I've been, curated or anything like that. It just be respectful on top of everything, right? Be respectful. You openly tell them what you need from them, and they will tell you what you need from them.
That's awesome.
And just deliver on those.
You sound like a good leader, dude. I love that. I think nowadays, I'm telling you, I mean, I see it every day. I'm in a leadership role myself. I see it every day, and kudos to you. Those answers, I think they're strong. And I think that again, the more you build your team up, the more you empower your team to take ownership of things, give them the flexibility, but setting boundaries, like you said, right? You have expectations from them. But once you set those expectations and let them fly, and then just course correct as things may go off the rails a little bit, I think it's great. And I think you're then helping people grow as well, right? There's growth with that from an individual perspective, and then you can see that growth, and that's kind of it's a big reward for you as a leader in that space to be able to see how they grow and then supporting that growth as they go also. That's fantastic. Do you get to enjoy bottles anymore, or do you just feel like they feel like inventory?
More like inventory nowadays.
Is it really?
The thing is, I've been asked by customers, like, you probably have like an amazing bar at home. Honestly, I don't even drink at home. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even drink beer or anything like that. With bringing on new items, right? You're always trying different things. You're always not always drinking. I don't want to say that's like, being drinking every day, but you're always sampling items. And at a point, you're just like, okay, I just want a little break because it's starting to feel more like it's work rather than enjoying it now. So, like, me drinking this tequila with you right now, it's because it's an occasion that I'm having, right? It's a new experience for me. So, I would say it feels more like inventory, unless it's something very unique that I'm running across. I have a buddy of mine that he loves collecting bourbon. He actually have the sample right here I wanted to show you. So it's an old Fitzgerald from an Irish decanter from 1965 to 1971, like a sample bottle that he dropped off.
Oh,
Which is
wow.
amazing.
That's awesome, dude. Oh my gosh, that's
So
awesome.
stuff like this is always going to intrigue me.
Yeah.
But every time, like, right now with tequila being the boom it's having, there's always a new brand of tequila coming out and out. And more or less, people are hyping it up, saying, "Oh, this is gonna be great because added free." I'm like, "Yes, it should be added free. That's great. Good job on doing that." But the taste wise is very similar to any other, like, especially the nom that's coming from, right? You kind of have a character that's built on what the flavor profile is coming out of that nom. So unless you're doing different, like something what Ramari did, even though it's from 1414 and they're pushing out great brands, he went with sake yeast, which is totally different, and it just sits different on your tongue as well.
Yep.
So stuff like that definitely will excite me.
It's cool that it's cool that distilleries are the distilleries that also are open to that as well, because I think that then allows them to push boundaries that have never been pushed before, right? And it's innovation, honestly, right? So it's really cool that it's cool that there's a mutual respect for what the base product is, and there is a quality that comes along with that. But it's also really cool to see them trying different things. I mean, almost got the whole the Baracca series where they age everything in different barrels, right? You mentioned that with the sake yeast. Like, that's really cool. I love that there's experiments trying to do new things and see then what the impact is to the consumer, because I think that kind of variety is going to be needed as we continue to move into this and continue to grow the tequila industry. I think it's any industry, to be honest with you. I mean, I can tell you in the bourbon world, somebody who's doing hyper aging up in Connecticut. There's a small distillery up in Connecticut, a macro distillery, and they're doing hyper aging. So they're like basically aging in 3 months what it would take in like 8 years, because they're doing it in a hyper way with heat and everything like that, right? So they're heat cycling the barrels. So it's cool that people are experimenting with this, and I think it opens the eyes into the consumer and introduces us to new things, which I think is really unique and fun.
Yeah. And like the whole, the story of Nom 14, the Vivanco, Sergio Cruz, great guy. If you ever get a chance to go down to Mexico,
he seems awesome, dude. He seems awesome.
Like, and he'll tell you, like, he'll open up his phone and show you like millions of different ways to create tequilas, from drastic little changes and stuff like that, right? And he'll sit down. It doesn't feel like you're talking to a snobby person or anything. It's like a guy that enjoys that industry. He loves drinking tequila. Like, it flows like wine down there, right? It's just a fun interaction to have with them. And I'm actually going again next month down there to meet them, trying out some Yayo products from John. So definitely excited to go back over there.
That's dope. That's awesome, man. All right, this Don Vicente, that might be my new favorite. It has everything I love in a pour, dude. I am falling in love with that bottle very, very quickly. 2 more questions, more a little deeper reflection questions. So I think you guys, you're at the intersection of producer and consumer. Do you personally feel like a gatekeeper? Do you feel like a curator? Do you feel like an educator? Or do you feel like all three?
I'll probably lean towards more educator side, right? Producing and all that is not who we are. We sample it, we learn about it as much as we can, and we try to pass that knowledge on to the consumer side of it. So definitely the knowledge side of it.
That's cool. No, I appreciate that too, because a lot of the times when we walk into stores, having a store owner that's passionate to and offer samples. Hey, have you tried this? Do you like this? What do you like? And then offering that, you open eyes to different things for different people. I think sometimes they may not always resonate with that individual, right? They may not like it, but at the end of the day, if you do finally introduce them to one different thing, right? Think about that, like one thing that you made a change in their, you made an impact to them. And then if you do that a couple times a year, then that person tells somebody else and then tells somebody else. It helps it grow. So I love the thought process there. I think it's needed more. And I mean, that's why I want to start to do this, because I think that education around this space is important. I can't stand the people that think they know everything, because none of us should know everything. I don't even think Sergio Cruz knows everything, to be honest with you. And you're talking about a dude that knows freaking a ton of shit and is smart as hell and puts out an amazing product. But at the end of the day, I guarantee you, if you asked him, he'd tell you he don't know everything. So that's the beauty of this. And I think humbleism and respect. So I like to hear that you're humble, and I respect that as well. So cheers to that. Final question for the night. So someone walks out of Kenny 18 with a bottle you recommended. What do you think? What do you hope happens next?
Word of mouth is the best thing that could happen.
I love that.
Honestly, like the Don Vicente Fuerte, for example, right? I turned this guy on that he used to be on a Lalo kick, and I got him to try the Don Vicente Fuerte because he was asking, "What am I drinking tonight?" And I just happened to be drinking Don Vicente Fuerte because that's my go-to sipper. Had him try it, became his new favorite. Told his neighbors about it. His neighbors came in and tried it. They bought some more. So it's like the word of mouth is better than any marketing thing you could ever do, in my opinion. Just that knowing that, like you said, you make a difference in people in a way where you open up their mind to different things, to be able to try other things, even though you're going from a $45 bottle to an $80 bottle almost. So you're doubling in price point, but people are still willing to do it because they start trusting your judgment on the flavor profile. And that just not with, tequila, like with other brands like gin and stuff like that too. So just be knowledgeable as much as you can, be open to try different stuff, and try to pass that along.
That's cool. Now, I'll say this too. Price of bottles has to be considered. Everybody has a budget, right? But I will say this. You mentioned like a jump from a $40 to $80 bottle, but I can tell you that in all of my time sitting down with other people and trying something, when that bottle gets pulled out, whether it's to that group of individual, if it's an expensive $40 bottle, an expensive $80 bottle, an expensive $150 bottle, whatever that price point is, when you sit down and you share then that bottle with different people and you explain it and you understand it and you appreciate it and you tell that story, you build a sense of like belonging around that, and you connect with people about that, right? So not only are you introducing them to that, you're also expanding their horizons. And I think there's a lot of value in that, to be honest with you. I can't tell you the number of times somebody sits down with a Compass box bottle that doesn't even exist anymore and like, here, try this, right? And I'm like, holy shit. Like, why does this not exist anymore? Like, where do we find this? Like, there's going to be something somewhere on the back of a shelf that we can get this bottle. Like, it's amazing. And it's a memory then that I'll always have of having that, even though I'll never try that again. When that bottle is gone, I can remember that time I sat down with those people. I remember that time I sat down with the bottle, looked at that bottle, talked amongst each other, watched all their faces as they're like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like that, there is something really to be said about that. That I think that, again, it's important that exactly what you said, when they walk out, you're hoping they walk out and appreciate that and they share that. I think it's a big difference for sure.
100%.
Yeah, agreed. All right, man. Plug Kenny's 18. Where do we find you? How do we connect with you? Where are you located? All that fun stuff.
So we're located right here in Kirkwood, 1989 Hosea Williams Drive. You can find us online at Kenny18BTS is our social media handle. Or you can go to Kenny18.com and got all our information on there with our wine club, tequila club that we're coming out with, more events that we're coming out with. So you'll find all the information. If not, has address, come see us in person. We'll let you know more about it.
Hell yeah, man. I got to get down and see you. I just have to stop my crazy ass life with 3 teenage kids.
I got 2 kids, man. I understand it. Mine are still young, but still, I understand it.
Yeah, definitely. No, I gotta come down and see you. Yeah, G. So for those who don't know, he mentioned G earlier. G got us connected. You can find her under I think it's Elisa Sip on Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So you can get us connected. She got us connected. But man, it was really good to meet you, and thanks for being so open and honest as well. Like I said, you were the first store owner that I've got to interview. And I think it's a really unique part of this industry that all of us need to understand a little bit more about. And I think understanding more of what you're passionate about, right? You're not just a store with bottles and an inventory and a P&L. You're a community, right? You're a piece of the community. You bring that community together. And I think more people need to understand that. I think more people need to appreciate that because I think you guys do a lot of good stuff for the community. I really appreciate all that you guys do.
I appreciate the opportunity, Jason. I really do.
Absolutely, man. Thank you. All right. Well, that's a wrap for this episode of the Dram Amateur Podcast. A huge thank you to Vic for joining the podcast and to all of you for tuning in and sipping along and being part of this amazing community. If you enjoyed the show, please take a moment to like, share, and leave a review. It helps us grow and reach more spirit lovers like you. So until we get to share one more pour together, cheers.
That wraps up another episode of the Dram Amateur Podcast. Thanks for being part of the community and the conversation. Until we get to share one more pour together, cheers.